It's like every time that announcement comes, it's like trying to have a romantic relationship in Mordor. So, Tonglen. Tonglen is, I would actually say, well, it's kind of advanced practice, advanced Bodhichitta practice. So, Tonglen, how the practice is done is that you open yourself to this is Mahayana practice, okay? So, you open yourself to the presence and confusion of others. This can be one person, this can be a small group of people, such like a family unit, or it can be everybody, all human beings, different kinds of beings, everybody, all sentient beings. And I actually don't remember if I personally have. Well, I have practiced, like prayed and said mantras for some certain people and families, but I don't remember if I have practiced Tonglen precisely. But it's like Tonglen is just a way to exercise this compassionate enlightenment. Enlightened mind that is compassionate. Just a way to do that. And it's a really useful practice because then you can't hide and you can't avoid that suffering of others. So the way how Tonglen, by the way, if somebody is not familiar with how it is written, it's like this, Tonglen. It's Tibetan. Nobody knows what it is in Sanskrit, but it means receive and give. Receiving and giving. Tonglen. And so the way how the practice is done is that you're present in your own clarity. You are in the recognition of yourself as a Buddha, hopefully at least. And then you purposefully, voluntarily open yourself to the presence of others. Presence of others means being here in the middle of samsara, means that you begin to feel the pain and confusion and anxiety and depression and anger and all that samsaric mass of samsaric energy. You start to feel that. So that's step number one. And this is the same what Gwen was saying, that this is the connection. This is, you actually feel that connection with sentient beings who are in pain. So what does it then mean to receive and to give? Receiving and giving actually, in my view, happens automatically. If your recognition of the basic state is stable enough, strong enough. And what I mean by that is that as you open, you become aware of this mass of samsaric energy radiating from all beings around you. It starts coming to you. It arrives to you. And when it hits your body, because when you are in the recognition of basic state, you are a Buddha, literally, at that moment. When it hits your subtle body, it transforms. That samsaric out of tune energy that is out of tune, it hits your body, it gets transformed, and it shines back as pure, bright energy. So your body, and often the heart, is given a special place in Tonglen. Your whole body and your heart becomes a transformer. Your whole body and your heart becomes a transformer for all this samsaric energy, and then it goes back clearly in a clear form. So that is my experience, that when you are just in the recognition of the basic state, then become aware of sentient beings and their suffering, starts happening automatically, spontaneously, without doing anything. And having said that, if you have learned Tonglen elsewhere, and the way how it is typically taught is giving attention to the heart center inside the chest, in the middle of the chest, and then doing that, receiving and giving receiving and giving, receiving the suffering of sentient beings into your heart with inhalation, and giving it out as pure blessings with exhalation. So this is how it's typically taught and practiced, with the breath. And there is a reason why it is done like that, which is that, well, when you have inhalation and exhalation, it gives you a rhythm. It gives you a clear rhythm, like music. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's easy to follow. Same thing with inhalation and exhalation. Inhalation and exhalation. So you know what to do when you have that rhythm. So this is perhaps why it's easier for people who are beginners or relative beginners to understand it, because you know what to do with inhalation and you know what to do with exhalation. And the reason why heart has a special place in Tonglen practice is because there is what I call a Chokchen energy center there inside the heart, which means that there is this about a fist size area inside the chest that always remains pure. These are like in the head, in the heart, and in the gut, related to the three basic characteristics, yet they all also have the three basic characteristics of the natural state, and also these three areas are related to direct entryways to Mahasiddha Bhumis, grounds of Mahasiddhahood, grounds of a Mahasiddha. So there is this special place in the heart that never gets dirtied, is never stained, so is always pure. And when you bring suffering of others to that special center, it automatically transforms, comes to you as chaotic energy, samsaric energy, is transformed in a heartbeat, in a blink of an eye, and then with exhalation it can be received as pure, clean, fresh energy. This is Tonglen. And maybe it's a good practice because, well, it is an excellent practice, but especially a good practice for developing bodhicitta, developing that compassion, like we were discussing. Very good practice for that. Having said that, if it might feel overwhelming if you start thinking of, heck, 8 billion people, you know, and, you know, almost 8 billion people who are in pain and in confusion. Maybe if you start thinking it that way, it can feel overwhelming. Oh heck, I really don't want to feel the suffering of others. But well, maybe it's useful in that case to understand that you can take it as an experiment, and that it is you can familiarize yourself, you can look at it plainly as an exercise, as a yogic exercise that you can stop at any time. But that is also the point, that when we open ourselves up, and it's so intimate when we can think of this is all beings. This is good beings, nice, kind beings, grandfathers, grandmothers who make cookies for you and give you milk. But this is also murderers and rapists. This is everyone. So this means demons, this means hungry ghosts, this means everybody, all kinds of beings discussed in Buddhist teaching, in Buddhist cosmology. So if you feel like anxious, oh, do I really want that? Do I really want to take that that strong hate, that strong greed, and so on to my heart? If it makes you nervous, that's a bullseye. That's exactly what we're after. Also to illuminate our own self-based attachments, self-based hopes and fears. So we have to understand this correctly when I say that Buddhist practice from one perspective is not safe, is not meant to keep us safe. But we need to understand this correctly. So this is not an erratic practice, not something, if you get overwhelmed, scared, give it some time. Don't try to do too much. But, we need to, when we are talking about Dharma practice, it is always about coming out from our comfort zone, and not rather than staying and using our coping strategies. So in that sense, Buddhist practice works only if you're willing to do that. But there's nothing dangerous in it, in a sense. And it is a good question, if you think that, and this, by the way, this is a really important point, that this is, the context of this is Buddhist Dharma practice. Buddhist Dharma practice is always about confusion, dukkha, and its removal. This is the context here. So if you think of physically ill people who have some kind of illness, or some person who is physically ill, tumors or some kind of disease, this is not the practice. The purpose of this practice is not to take that illness to me. But it could be done also. And there are instances, if you have read like perhaps some biographies of Buddhist or Hindu yogis, there are stories of people exchanging literally their lives for the life of somebody else by taking somebody's deadly illness. But this is not what we're doing or using this practice here in Tonglen practice. So, and because of that, you're only taking into consideration about the mental state and emotional state of all sentient beings. And that's it. You're only working with that. I remember thinking myself, and it always comes up, the question that, well, am I really transforming the anxiety of my cousin, for example, if that's what I'm practicing? Am I really removing the depression of my schoolmate or something? Something might happen to that person in his or her health for the better. Worsening won't happen, but something might happen for the better or not. I cannot say that, whether such effect happens or not. It might or might not. But what will certainly happen is that we come to know our true nature better. This will certainly happen. And the reason for that is, again, this is Bodhichitta practice. Expression of enlightened mind through this compassionate exercise. I think that this was enough introduction, so let's get down to it. Please take a good sitting posture. So we'll do one session today, and then let's do a second one tomorrow. And since we all, our basic prayer is, may all beings be free. We consider all beings. So let's just start with all beings. But in your own practice, if you have friends, family members, people who who have some mental, emotional problems, then you can do that on your own, if you like. Take a moment to recognize the three basic characteristics one by one. Clear, sober knowing. It's not clear, sober, unconscious. There is this basic knowing that is clear and sober. Then there is energetic aspect, aliveness, softness, richness, moisture. And there is settledness, peacefulness, groundedness. A bedrock peacefulness. And these three qualities are actually different sides of the same basic nature. Good. And then become aware of the vast space around you. Also in physical space, whether it's few meters away or 30 meters away in the next building or next house, or whatever might be the physical distance, there are other people, animals, insects, aliveness of Mother Earth. There is this life around us in many different kinds of forms. Simply become aware of the vast space around you. And as we do this, you notice that some information starts coming to us in the form of energetic feeling, energetic sensation. Taste that information. How does it taste like? Maybe it's useful to kind of concretize the vast space around us a little bit. So you're sitting there on your chair or meditation cushion. You might live in a small village or a town or a big city. And then you have other cities or towns close by to your own town or village. And so it goes on and on to cover your whole country. And next to your country, there are other countries with their own cities and towns. And countless people, 250 million people in Europe alone. I think we're all in Europe. Or 300 million or something. But in this way, maybe it's useful to concretize, kind of get as concretic sense of the space inhabited by humans, animals, physical life forms as possible. So you can use this visualization of towns and countries and continents. So that you get better connected. When you get better connected, then you can feel more clearly. So feel the energy of life on earth. How does it feel like, smell like, taste like? What is the energy of humanity? What is the energy of all animal life? And you're present yourself available to this energy. You're voluntarily feeling it. And because you're feeling it, you are already blending with it, getting connected with it. Stay in that connection. maybe it can also be, if it is too abstract to think of continents or the whole globe, perhaps you can just think of people of your own town or city. So you're completely open. Maybe this is the first thing to learn, that as you are in connection with it, completely relax while staying in that connection. So let's take a moment to analyze how that energy feels like. Perhaps you can show me thumbs up if you agree. It feels like there is a bit uncomfortable pressure coming to you. Sort of like something is pushing you. Uncomfortable pressure. And this energy, it's not strong, but you can clearly feel that it has this, maybe you feel that it kind of puts that pressure on your breathing. Your breathing becomes a bit like constricted a little bit. Might make you contracted, start feeling like it's not me, but it kind of makes my energy contracted. And just generally, there is the typical common flavor of samsaric emotion. Anxiety-like, depression-like, anger-like. Can you relate to that? Okay, very good. So now, we are like gently connected, gently in union with this energy. Let's now welcome this energy into our heart with a simple prayer. I'll say the prayer on behalf of all of us. May the suffering of others come and arrive into my heart. See what happens. May the pain, suffering and confusion of all beings come into my heart to be transformed to rainbow light blessings, to be returned to them. A simple prayer, and then observe. So the samsaric energy is coming to you from all sides. You let it into your heart from all sides. Your heart is kind of the center point in space where all that pain, suffering, confusion, mental, emotional anguish can arrive and can touch the very center of the heart. So we expressed through a simple prayer this bodhisattvic activity, bodhisattvic action. And as you can see, something happens. Did you already have the experience that after that prayer, during the last couple of minutes, that samsaric energy comes into your heart and is then transformed into really cool, really like a warm or hot energy comes to you, but it cools off in the heart and then it bounces back. Did you have that experience already? Show me those who had. Okay. maybe we can try for a moment, if we think of people of your town or city, or even if you think of people and living creatures of the whole earth, kind of imagine that they are in front of you, in the floating in space in front of you. Perhaps it's useful to kind of have a clear sense of direction. That's why I'm suggesting to put them in front of you. And then feel their energy again in the same way. Feel their energy. Allow it to come into your body and heart, to the center of the heart, and see what automatically, naturally happens. You just remain open for their pain to come. What is happening here? We make ourselves available for the suffering of others. The name Avalokiteshvara, the Buddha of compassion, means Ishvara, Lord, who hears the cries of those below him. Hearing the cries, being present for the pain and suffering and cries for others. This is the archetype Buddha of compassion. Now, let's chant the short Bodhichitta prayer, may all beings be free, aimed at the group of people and beings who you imagine in front of you. So you actively wish and you charge this prayer with sincerity, with sincere motivation, that may these beings really be free. Really wishing existential freedom, freedom from the sense of self in all its forms, really wishing it. So let's chant it 6 times. Inhale. May all beings be free. 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 See how you feel. What is your energy now? I mentioned getting in touch with Mahasiddha grounds, Mahasiddha bhumis through this exercise. Do you feel like being in the recognition of Mahasiddha bhumis? May all beings be blessed by Guru Rinpoche and Yeshe Tsogyal. May all beings be blessed actively at this moment by all Buddhas and Mahasiddhas. And then let's chant dedication of merit. May all beings receive my accumulated merit. I dedicate the merit to the refuge and to all sentient beings. Right, join your hands and let's make a bow.